Hello and welcome to Fearless DIY Music. My name is Tristan Lass, and today I'd like to talk about the humble nylon string guitar, also known as the classical guitar. I think that it's an instrument that is often overlooked by guitar players who lean more heavily into steel string acoustics and electric guitars. I think that having one of these around is invaluable for everybody who does play guitar in a meaningful way. Often seen as beginner guitars, these are great for practicing, composing. I use them for songwriting all the time. I love to do scale exercises on them and working on finger picking especially. You know, the extra wide neck makes them great for just doing little finger picking runs that are relatively simple and just kind of having fun dinking around with writing and being creative. They're great couch guitars just to kind of keep laying around. The necks are, gigantic and don't have a tendency to warp, or they really can't be adjusted. So they're almost ideal for just having as like your living room instrument. Something that you can just, pick up anytime that you want, and you have an idea and you just start plucking around on them. This particular guitar has an interesting backstory. A relative of mine recently gifted this to me. She's an older woman and is no longer playing. And this is a 1980 Takamine C128, and it's just a gorgeous instrument. And you find a lot of the time, like heirloom instruments or instruments that are within your own family or friend network will end up being a nylon string, because these are the guitars that are, classically, no pun intended, known to be like, somebody wants to play folk music, or they're just a beginner and they just want to strum around. These guitars are relatively accessible for people because of their low entry point as far as cost, and also because the strings are soft to the touch. So it doesn't require a whole lot of fretting strength to go ahead and start, playing your basic, your basic chords. So anyway, I just think that everybody should really think about choosing a nylon string to have in your arsenal. When you're studying theory, especially, they're really handy because they're nice, and spread out. You can really feel the notes when you play them. They really ring out. And it helps you start to identify, oh, that's a, majors and minors and modes especially really kind of come true through a nylon guitar. And I find that I get a lot of ideas when I'm playing one of these that turn into songs that I then translate to either an electric guitar or a steel string. But I think that these are the unsung hero of songwriting, because, if it sounds good on this in isolation, just on its own, it's going to sound great when you start putting, effects on, or you're going to, put a little bit of distortion onto something. You can come up with just like a, like a rock thing on these. I've used these quite a bit in the studio to record rhythm tracks, actually. Rather than using an electric guitar or a steel string, sometimes I pull out a nylon and I actually do my primary rhythm work on a nylon string guitar. Something akin to, just kind of getting into it and playing more like a power chordy kind of thing on it, which I think is super fun and can give your tracks a little bit of a different flavor. And they're also kind of fun. I've done a lot of coffee shop gigs back in the past, and for a long time I had a Gibson C1, which I still have, and I used that nylon string guitar quite often to go ahead and, even play a gig on, which is super fun because your fingers don't really get that fatigued. I mean, aside from the obvious thing that it's a much wider neck, my hands wouldn't get quite as fatigued because I didn't have to press down super hard, even on bar chords and stuff. And it was just fun because I was doing something a little bit different. You know, Willie Nelson is perhaps the most famous person who's used a nylon string guitar as his primary throughout most of his professional career, which is super cool. But that's my kind of point about all of this is that you should give these a chance, and you can get a decent one in, you know, a very affordable price range. For $300 or a little bit below, you can purchase a very good quality nylon string guitar. I know that right now, I went on Reverb before I shot the video, and I've also got a Cordoba C5, and those you can find used for around $150 and up, and those are tremendous value, and they're very, very solid instruments. A lot of fun to play, and they're relatively well crafted for the price point. Anyway, I hope that you enjoyed this video. Maybe it inspires you to pick up a nylon string guitar and use it however you see fit, but they're a lot of fun to have, and I think that everybody should give them a shot. All right, if you liked this video, please hit the subscribe button, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Take care.